Welcome to Chibi Tales, where we teach you to read the warning label before you don't have hair anymore. You'll get what I'm saying. We have some fun stories from r/TIFU for you today about some bleached boots and broken bones. Our first story comes from user The Only Real Kyle, where a spontaneous attempt at a new hair color almost melted his scalp off. On Thursday night, I decided I'm going to dye my hair silver. I've been fighting the decision on what color to make my hair since I started growing it out again. Friday morning, I went to work, got through the day, and then went and bought a bleach and dye kit. That night, I bleached my hair, and then an hour later, I dyed it. The bleach worked wonderfully, but sadly, the dye barely took. It brought my hair from a bleach blonde to a lighter tone. I thought, no big deal, I'll just dye it again next week. Saturday morning, I woke up and said, F it. I went out and bought a light silver dye. Applied it, and what do you know, it didn't get the desired results. There were hints of color throughout, but it generally just made my hair a little closer to white. Now, throughout all of this, reading the directions on every package, it says not to apply color within 2 weeks. Bleach, wait 2 weeks, dye, wait 2 weeks, dye, wait 2 weeks. I ignored this. That brings us to today. I woke up this morning and once again said, F it. I went to the store and brought a dark silver gray and decided I didn't want my hair to be curly anymore, so I also bought a relaxer kit. Before dinner, I applied the dye and it got exactly where I wanted to be. Victory! A few hours pass and I decide I'm going to apply the relaxer. Reading the instructions, I very quickly realize I fall into almost all of the do not use section of the instructions. So I decide, what's the worst that could happen? Well, you know what happened. That shit burned my scalp to a crisp. At least 50% of my hair fell out. The rest of it coiled up like it was burned. My scalp is still on fire. I shaved it with a pair of clippers, but once my scalp stops being on fire, I'm going to clean shave it. Long story short, I ignored all of the warnings on the hair-related products, and my hair fell out. Okay, so this person is exactly the reason why warning labels exist. Congratulations, my dude. All I can say is, sorry for your hair loss? Oh, and OP was gracious enough to share a picture of what his hair looks like right now. Poor guy. Do you have a hair disaster story? If yes, tell me about it in the comments below. Our next story comes from user DV Torch, where a fun challenge at an engagement party led to a trip to the ER and earning a badass nickname? A couple of years ago, I was at an engagement party for my wife's cousin. Didn't really know a lot of people there apart from her family, but I decided to chat with people and be a social butterfly anyway. The groom came over and told me that his best man wanted to challenge me to an arm wrestling competition, saying it was friendly and that it would only be a wager of $1 per arm. Now, I work out, but I'm not overly muscular, and we were in dress shirts that weren't too tight. I was a little inebriated, so I agreed, but didn't want to make a spectacle of it since I felt it would be rude to anyone to have an arm wrestling competition in the middle of their event. Anyway, we secured a spot upstairs on a glass table. I finally got a good look at the guy and I realized I definitely had weight on him. But he looked strong and he was the one who wanted to challenge me, so I went with it. My brother-in-law gave me some tips on how to flex and tighten my core while doing it. He proceeded with our dominant arm and I easily beat him, with not a whole lot of exertion, and thought that was the end of it. He called me back to do our left hands after I got up and we settled in again. He took an early lead and had me in a good position. My brother-in-law reminded me that I needed to use my core, and at that moment I flexed and bam! Broke this guy's arm. At first, we thought he just displaced his elbow based on what we could feel was something floating in his arm. But I took him to the hospital anyways, since none of us were trained beyond basic first aid. We ended up causing a huge distraction downstairs when we had to leave to take him to the hospital. I accompanied him because I felt super guilty. When the nurse asked us what happened, this guy says, "I was in an arm wrestling competition, but I wasn't good enough." I just about died. We eventually found out that his humerus broke, clean in half. I also found out my brother-in-law recorded it and sent it out to some of our friends. I got reactions, mostly horrified laughter, all night while waiting for this guy to get sent home in the ER. Couple of months before the wedding, I jokingly asked the bride if it would be okay if I asked their best man for the $2 he owed me. Got shot down with the deserved nasty look, but they laughed it off. That was the day I gained the nickname Bonecrusher that I still get called to this day. Wow, if I were this guy, I would make sure everyone I knew called me Bonecrusher. You know what?
I am Bonecrusher.
Oh, and in case you're wondering whatever happened to that video recording, well, we've got it.
Hold on, let me go first. So we're both even.
Oh shit.
Oh, come on.
This is savage, man.
I bet this guy.
Yeah, it's like chicken fighting.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh!
Let's go!
Arms. Yo, very touching. Try that again.
Okay.
All right, focus. Remember, Daniel, focus, okay?
Alright. 1, 2, 3, go.
That's not fair. Oh shit! What the? Are you okay?
Yikes, that was bad. What's the most badass nickname you've ever gotten? Comment below and let me know. Our last story for the day comes from user JSun, which reminds us to never screw around with bleach. Ever. So this happened today and I'm still baffled by my stupidity. I have a favorite pair of somewhat pricey shoes that you've probably seen on r/sneakers at some point. Anyway, these shoes are completely white and get dirty pretty easily, so I try and be careful with them. But trying to stop your white shoes from getting dirty is like Ross trying to convince Rachel that they were on a break. So obviously they do get dirty, and today I decided I would give them a good old cleaning. In the past, I soaked them in diluted bleach for about 1 or 2 hours and they would come out looking fresh. But today, I was attending a wedding, which meant that I had a limited time with them and figured, why not just do the old bleach trick? Except, the difference is that I did not dilute the bleach nearly enough. And instead of 1 to 2 hours, I left it for 7 hours. So, when my dumb ass came back to check on them, they literally melted in my hand. They're completely destroyed. Something like that bathtub from Breaking Bad. I still can't believe it. I thought it was a good idea, and now I'm full of sadness. And also, shoeless. The worst part? I did this in my bathroom, where there's very little ventilation. And after pouring out all the bleach, there were still a lot of bleach odors. So, the genius in me decided that it was a good idea to turn on the shower and let the steam carry it out. Smart, right? Instead, it's just steamy bleach now. So not only am I stupid, I'm also incredibly dumb. Now I'm scared to stay in the bathroom. Or should I call it my bleach sauna? You know, knowing the kind of guy that I am, I just never buy white sneakers. It's just too much of a risk. How have you ruined your fancy white shoes? Come on, don't be shy. I know you f***ed up a white shoe before. I can see it in your face. Tell me all about it in the comments below. That was r/TIFU. Like now to gain the ability to never ignore warning labels. Subscribe or else you will have your bones crushed. Also, It kinda helps my channel grow, so, do it. And if you'd like to see more TIFU stories brought to life, hit the bell icon so you don't miss my next video. Now it's time to
unleash the wrath of the Bonecrusher.